Pass out to the pack. It is Pack here. Today I'm talking about NBA 2K22 and the most unimproved players of the entire year. So from the day NBA 2K22 dropped to today, who had the biggest decreases in ratings. I'm sure there's some names that already pop up in your head. But before this video starts, if you like this kind of content, be an OG, join the pack and subscribe and leave a like on the video to help the video grow. Let's get the video started. There's no honorable mentions this time. We're going straight at number 10. And this player's on the Philadelphia 76ers. You might have forgotten about him. Danny Green. He's a 73 overall. He was a 77 overall at the start of the year. He goes down 4. Last year, he was also on the Philadelphia 76ers. Danny Green's been pretty consistent for the since 2015. So like 7 years. He's been about a 9 to 10 point per game scorer who's been an efficient three-point shooter. Some years he's a little inefficient, but I think for the most part he's around like a 38 to 39% three-point shooter who plays good defense. He's been the exact same player for a long time. And then the only time he was different was back in 2014 with the Spurs, and where he was a bucket, like he was just hitting everything. But besides that, he's been the same player for a long time, okay? 3-and-D, not the star, barely even a starter anymore, and he's getting older. So first of all, I don't think his downgrade should have been this aggressive. I just think that his role has diminished because other players on the Sixers are more talented right now. So it's just that he's the same player. It's just that other players on the team are just better. So he has gone down. I know why he's gone down. It's just that there's other players that I think maybe deserve to have bigger downgrades than him, right? But okay, I see this one, sure. At number 9 on the list, who also gets a -4 on the Blazers, we have Joe Ingles. I kind of forgot about Joe Ingles this year. Remember, on the Jazz, he was really good. On the Jazz, for a couple years, he was serious. I mean, he was a good defender. He hustled hard. He was efficient. In 2018, he was averaging 12 points on 40% from the 3 almost and 45% from the field. He had almost 6 assists. I mean, the dude was great on the Jazz. Amazing on the Jazz. Oh my God, in 2020, he was averaging 45% from 3. I didn't even realize that. But yeah, I mean, he's been amazing for a couple years, and he just kind of declined fast. And then the Jazz traded him, and it was a whole thing. Very weird situation for Joe Ingles. Again, he's older. He's not an athletic dude, so I can see why that maybe happens to someone like him. And now that he's on the Blazers, they're not really going to need him that much. So very weird situation for Joe Ingles. I feel like he's going to go somewhere else next season, but we'll wait and see. At number 8 on this list, we have Daddius Young. I only call him that because he's on the Spurs. Just relax, okay? It's a Spurs thing. You wouldn't understand. But he was a 79 overall. Now he's a 75, so -4 for him as well. Daddius Young was funny because he had been an 80 to a 79 overall for the past 10 years. I mean, he's consistently was dropping 11 to 12 points per game, and since the Brooklyn Nets days, right? Always been efficient, always been even a decent defender. He was a great role player, one of the best role players in the NBA, to be completely honest with you. On the Spurs, though, they didn't really see much use for him, and then he goes to the Raptors, and he did play in the playoffs, and he actually did okay in the playoffs, but it's a player that like isn't great anymore. He's getting older. He's not necessarily amazing at anything anymore. He's not bad at anything, but it's just like he's like a Swiss Army knife of an NBA player, and it didn't work out for any team he's been on, and I don't even think the Raptors are going to keep him. So kind of a weird situation for Daddius Young. He definitely did get worse this year. This one's not completely fair at all, but at number 7, we have Victor Oladipo, who goes -4. From an 80 overall to a 76. In the last 2 years, he's dropped from an 88 to a 76. So one of the biggest downgrades in the past 2 years of a 12 overall difference. He was the best player on the Pacers just a little while ago, and now he's a backup on the Heat. However, we kind of forget that he was hurt. He had multiple injuries, so it's not fair for him to go down that hard. He's just coming back, right? But Oladipo is still a bucket. He still is. And on the Miami Heat, the last game against the Hawks, Jimmy Butler didn't play for the elimination game, and Victor Oladipo put him to sleep. So Victor Oladipo still has it. He's still a great replacement player. Like, even though he's not the star anymore, he can still do what he needs to do. I'm happy he's on the Heat. That's a good place to be at. He wanted to be there, so that's a W for everyone involved. At number 6 on this list, we have Klay Thompson, -4. Another player that it's not completely fair at all to put this low. Again, I understand why his productivity has gone down, but there's a lot of reasons for that. First, he was injured, like badly, right? So it's not fair to downgrade him that hard. Second, his role has diminished. He was the clear number 2 for the Warriors for years. I mean, when you needed an open shot, boom, you got to Klay. Klay was hitting every open 3 possible, and he was a great defender. He's slowed down this year. His athleticism is slowed down because of injury, and now that you have Wiggins, who's an option, you have Poole, who's an option, Klay Thompson isn't the automatic second option anymore. And so he's still fantastic, but I think an 83 overall is fair right now. You're gonna notice that injuries are kind of a theme in this video. At number 5 with Damian Lillard -4. So from a 94, which was one of the best point guards in the NBA, to 90, who's still one of the best point guards in the NBA, but just not top 2 anymore. Dame is weird because when this team was healthy, they still weren't winning, right? Which is a bad look when you're one of the best players in the NBA. And then he gets injured, and then he comes back, and doesn't do good when he comes back, and it's just Dame had a weird year. It's gonna be a reset year next year. They're gonna have to try to build around him again. But like, this year was definitely a shame for him, and kind of a year I think he's going to want to forget for sure. At number 4 on this list, we have -5 for Paul Millsap. So Paul Millsap was a very important player for the Nuggets for the past couple years. To go to the Sixers and not even be used anymore is essentially what's happened to him. That's all that it is. And I think you would think they would use him more than now that Embiid's hurt, but they're playing DeAndre Jordan more than Paul Millsap. And I don't think that's a smart idea because I just feel like Paul Millsap's better right now, but whatever. But -5 for him for the year. His role just completely changed from a starter to someone that's not even really playing anymore. It's a big difference, and that's why his rating is showing that. So we're going to stay on the Knicks for a little bit. At number 3, we have Kemba Walker, -5. From an 83 to 78, this was one of the better point guards in the NBA, even though he had a down year in Boston when he was only averaging 19 compared to the 25 in Charlotte, and it was less efficient. I mean, to go from a 20-point per game score to not playing anymore for the Knicks because they don't think you're good enough defensively to play, that's a big difference. And even though I think that it's not the smartest idea to leave Kemba Walker out of a rotation, especially when you're struggling for a year, and I think the Knicks made a mistake for not playing him, I still think, yeah, I see why he went down this much. I think if he actually played and they actually gave him like trust, he'd probably be like an 81 or 80 overall, but still big downgrade for Kemba Walker. At number 2, we're going to stay at the Knicks with Julius Randle. Julius Randle goes -5 as well from an 87 to an 82. He was looking like one of the best power forwards in the NBA last season. He was averaging 24, 10, and 6, right? And he was efficient from 3. Great player to terrible. I mean, he's not the best player on the team anymore because RJ Barrett passed him this year. He was looking like he didn't even care. His defense was trash this year. And he was getting turnover after turnover, and he couldn't hit open shots. I mean, all over the place, bad for Julius Randle. It's terrifying because you look at that contract and you hope that he can change things soon because that was a bad year. And finally, at number 1, we all know this one, Russell Westbrook, -8, bro. -8. To be fair, if you've been watching my videos all year, you know that we know why. We've talked about Russell Westbrook so many times, so I'll give you the quick little summary. Russell Westbrook's game did not fit the LA Lakers at all. He's getting older. He shoots terrible shots. His defense is inconsistent. He turns the ball over way too much when he should just take care of it. And again, it's just when you have no shooters around you, he's gonna struggle. And he was never supposed to be the number 2 option like he was this season. He was supposed to be the number 3 option. And because everyone was hurt, we were never able to see what Russell Westbrook could really do on a healthy team. So a bad year for him. If he stays with the Lakers and everyone is healthy, maybe we'll see a change, but it's a damn shame he went this low. Now that's it for this video. What do you think about the biggest downgrades of the year? Leave it in the comments below, and if you like the channel, please give it a sub. I'll see you guys next time.